Hello everyone. So Salesforce announced AgentScript, the new language to build AgentForce agents. Previously, we were building agents in the AgentForce builder using natural language. Now we will be building agents in the new AgentForce builder using a hybrid approach. Basically, combination of natural language and procedural or programming language. Now, what is AgentScript? Before we answer what AgentScript is, we should discuss what is the need of AgentScript. So the biggest challenge that we are addressing in this Gen AI era is how to leverage the power of large language models while maintaining the reliability of business flow. Or in simple word, how do we give the AI freedom to perform tasks based on natural language instructions, but still make sure that the output is deterministic. Here, the term deterministic is very important. So let's understand this problem statement from an example. So this is my other org, and here I have this agent, the Rumi agent, which is built using the previous AgentForce builder. And now you may call it legacy AgentForce builder because most probably it will be retired by Salesforce very soon. So this is the agent I built in my other course, which is Real-Time AgentForce Agent course. So if you're enrolled into that course, then you would have probably built this agent along with me. And let's just see that how we built it. So here, I want to open this topic here. So this is one of the topic which helps this agent to help users in food booking. And here, how we created this is it's just set of instructions and actions, right? So here, let's look at this instruction. So this is where I was saying that the term deterministic is very important when we talk about the business flow. So here, what is the instruction that I'm giving? I'm saying that the action process food order will return the food bill ID. Once this is received, then after that, invoke the action update billing detail, passing the food bill ID and customer ID. This will link the bill to the customer record. Now, if you see this instruction, I would say that there is nothing wrong in this instruction and how we were creating these agents previously. But there is a very big problem here. This agent is non-deterministic. What it means is that by looking at this instruction, I'm not sure whether this agent will always follow this or not. But if you see here, for this business logic where it has to update this billing detail, the food bill ID is a must, right? And food bill ID will only be written by this action. This is actually a flow which is going to process the food order and it will return a food bill ID. So the food bill ID from the business context is very important because without that, this action may not even run because it requires the food bill ID. Now, just by looking at this instruction, can we be sure that this will always follow this instruction that first execute this action, you will get back the food bill ID, then you should invoke this action, passing the food bill ID and the customer ID. Now out of 100, I think it will follow this instruction maybe 99 times, but there is still a chance that it will not follow this instruction and it may execute this action before executing this action. Now that's a big problem. Let's say that that happens in the production. Obviously, when you're building this agent, you will handle those fallback scenarios. But here, if it does that, if it does not follow this instruction, because this is just natural language, right? And these agents or LLM models are non-deterministic, it may not follow this instruction. So that is where there is a need to add deterministic approach to this instruction. Now we should force this agent that you are not supposed to run this action until you have run this action. So there is a sequencing that we have to do, that you first execute this action. It will give you the food bill ID, which we should store it somewhere. Here we are just asking it that you invoke this action, it will give you the food bill ID, and then that's what you should pass to the next action. But this is something that may fail. I'm not saying it will always fail, but as per Murphy's law, if something can go wrong, it will. So that is where we will have to handle that situation. So by introducing the deterministic approach, we will force this agent to always execute this action before this action and store the food bill ID into a variable. So with this agent script, you will see that we will use variables. We will use conditional logical statements, basically if statement and else statement. We will use the chaining of action where we will force the agent to run action in the sequence. So for this instruction, that is what we have to do. We should run this action first and then we should run this action. So that is something currently not possible in this legacy AgentForce builder, and that is totally up to you. You will have to give the instructions in very detailed manner. Okay, so that is one challenge here. Similarly, if you see this instruction, now I have added one single instruction here, but someone might add multiple instruction here. First one could be before showing food options, always ask for the customer ID. That is, before showing food options, always ask for the customer ID. Now, if you look at this instruction, before showing food option, always ask for the customer ID. This is actually a if statement in procedural language, right? If the customer ID is not available, then you should not show the food option. Rather, you should ask for the customer ID, correct? So that's actually a if statement. But previously, since we didn't had the option to add if statement, we had to write it in the natural language. And now it's totally up to the LLM. How does it interpret it? If it interprets it correctly, then obviously it will follow this instruction and it will not show the food option until the customer ID is provided. But this non-deterministic approach is not reliable. So that is what forced Salesforce to come up with agent script, where we will add the deterministic nature to our agent, and it won't be a simple natural language instructions, but it will be a combination, and that is why we are calling it a hybrid reasoning approach, where we will write natural languages plus we will also have the procedural approach, where we will utilize the variables, where we will have conditional statements using if and else block. So that will basically give us more control how our agent will work in the production. Because let's say that you built an agent for a healthcare industry, or maybe for an insurance industry, or for a banking industry. These industries are very critical, and every time you want your agent to perform the activity in same order, even if it makes a mistake one time, that mistake will be very huge. That is where we need to bring the reliability of the business flow, and that is where the agent script come into picture. So let me show you one more instruction, maybe this one. Yeah, so here if you see that if a user asks to book a room, ask the user for basic information. Now here again we are just asking the LLM that this is the instruction you have to follow, but can I guarantee that it will always follow that? Again, yes, out of 100 it will do that 99 times, but we have to take care of that one time where it will not follow this instruction, and that's where you will use the procedural approach. You will put a if condition that if the user details are not available, then first ask for the user detail before going ahead with the booking a room. Okay, I hope you got some idea about the problem statement that we have with the previous approach of building agents. If you have built agent, then you most probably be knowing that how much instruction you will have to add. If your agent is doing something wrong, you will go ahead and you will add one more instruction saying that do not do this. But again, that's not reliable. You can't just keep on adding instruction, but rather you should add conditions. And that is where the agent script comes into picture. So this is how we were building agent previously, and this is how we will build agent now going forward using the agent script in the new AgentForce builder, which is currently beta. Right, so this is the similar agent of that food billing, and here you would have already seen some of the glimpse here. So here I'm saying that I added the procedural statement or a conditional statement here that if the customer name is not available, then you have to ask for the customer name. Okay, if the customer ID is available, then only you should share the customer ID. And most importantly, we're adding some conditions on to the actions. So this is the action which should book a room, but here I added a condition that this action is only available for this topic when the customer name is available and the room is already not booked. So just by looking at this, you see that now as a developer or as an admin, I have much more control the way this agent will behave, right? So I can add these statements and I can add these filters. So this is how we will use the combination of natural language. So here you see that this is natural language, right? Ask the customer for name, for mobile number and all of that. And we also have procedural approach of adding conditions, adding filters, right, using variables. So here we have the variables. So this is the new way of building agent using agent script. And let's just see the structure of this agent script before we build this agent script from scratch. Obviously, once we do this from scratch, you will get better idea, but I wanted to show you this still here. So first of all, I shouldn't have shown you this big script here. This looks really bad and it looks like we are moving away from out of the box approach to the coding approach. And yeah, if you notice here, this is basically a YAML structure, but nothing to worry. This is the script that I am currently. We also have canvas now, which means that if you want to build your agents again using the UI or natural language way, you can still do that. But in our course, we will go with the hybrid approach. Something we will create in the canvas and something we will do in the script so that it is easy to build the agent. Now the first thing is I should have actually shown you canvas, because this one is very similar to how we were building agents previously. So let me start here. So first we have the agent detail here. So very similar screen. If you remember, let me duplicate it. Yeah, so this is the detail screen, right, where we were specifying what is our agent and what is the name, what is the description, all of that. So that's what we are adding in the agent detail. Now this same screen will become config when I switch to the script. So if I switch to the script, you will see that this information is now available in the script language. So it's not necessary that you always have to write the script. You can actually be in a canvas mode and you give these detail, it will automatically be converted into the script format. Now here in the script as well as in the canvas, you will see that when I'm clicking on this, it's just opening that part. But in reality, this entire thing is just one single file. So if I click on this agent definition, then I'm seeing the entire agent script. But if I'm clicking on individual section, then I'm only seeing that particular section. But these are not different files. These are just section of the same file. So this is the entire file and these are the section. So the config section is here. Then I have the system section where we say that what is the message that this agent will give. Again, the welcome message as well as error. Now again, if we go back to our previous agent, then it is this section, system messages, right? Whatever is our welcome message, whatever is our error message, it's the same. Again, if you want to configure the same, you will add that in the system block. And again, if you don't want to do this in the script format, it's easy to do in the canvas. In the canvas, you will see that we have the welcome message and as well as the error message. Then we have the language. You can specify what is the language your agent will have. Very similar to what we have here, the language setting. So all of these sections that you see here, it's very similar here also. You can specify language. And if you see in the script, you have this language. Now, when you see all these three sections, if I open the complete file, then these were the three sections that we just saw, these two as well as this language section, right? Then we have, let's go back to the canvas, we have the topics. So I have this hotel room booking topic. This is the topic and I have the reasoning instructions, and you see that I have this conditional statements here, which is the added advantage. Previously, the way we were creating these instructions were simply natural language and we were just kind of requesting our agents to, invoke this action. But now we have much more control. We can specify that invoke this action. I can actually embed the action into the instruction. So this is much better approach than what was this. So here we were just saying that, just invoke this action. This one, I'm not sure it will follow always. It does follow most of the time, but we can't be 100% reliable that it will always execute this action. But in agent script, when I'm writing this instruction, again, you see this is kind of natural language. So you can write your instruction this way, or you can write in a script way as well. Now you see this topic is open here and this is my reasoning. These are my instructions. So I have instructions and I have actions. So your topic still have the instructions and actions. And again, actions are same. You can have actions. Currently since this new AgentForce builder is in beta, so you have very limited actions as compared to the legacy builder. So this action is actually a flow, and you see very similar screen how we were creating. So this action is part of this topic. And if I switch to script, then this is my action, book a room. This is the script format of this action. And then connection, how do you connect? How do you deploy this agent to different channel? That's how you will define here. And then finally variable. So this is overall the high level components. If you're not following, or if you're thinking that this is too much, please do not worry. Once we create our first agent in this agent script, and most probably we are not even going to go into the script for our first agent, we will be able to do that in the canvas mode only. So you don't have to worry about how do I remember this syntax, what is this mutable variable and all that, right? So do not worry about it. As a developer, you have the ability to create this from UI as well as you can follow the script as well. So this is the overall introduction of agent script and what is the need of it. I hope you would have got some idea, and if you have already created few agents in the legacy AgentForce builder, then you would probably see that why this agent script has come up now. Okay, because now it gives me more control the way my agents are going to take decisions. Previously it was non-deterministic. It's just that from my side I can only add instructions. Even though I'm seeing that my agent is not doing something the way it should do, I can only go and add instructions in natural language, but now I have more control. If I'm seeing that my agent is simply invoking some action, like this one, create a customer, it's just invoking it without even checking the detail, without even ensuring that the information is there or not, I can go ahead and I can add a filter saying that this action is only available when the customer name is available and the room booked is not true. Right, I can pass the value. So again, this one I think I should show you here. I was saying that user asked for a book, ask the user for basic information such as name, mobile phone, check-in date, and then I was saying that passing the customer detail, the action will create a customer. So here, this instruction where I'm saying that this action, you have to pass the customer detail. This is too much generic. I'm not sure if my agent understood this or not. But here, if you see that, I'm saying that when you're invoking this action, you have to pass the check-in date as this variable, mobile number as this, name as this, room preference as this. So this is much more controlled. I'm actually specifying what to be passed. So that's how I'm getting more control with this agent script while building my agents. I think we discussed a lot in this lecture. So maybe we'll start creating these agents from the next lecture by understanding the basic. So in this lecture, let's start building our agent using the agent script. So I have spin up a new developer org. So with the same URL that I have given in the resource section of first module, you can spin up a new org, and here you should be able to see the agent script. So since this is a new org, so first thing I want to check is if we have this Einstein setup enabled or not. Yeah, so Einstein is enabled in this new org. Now, the way we were creating agents in the agent builder was in the setup, right? So now also you should still be able to see your AgentForce Studio here. And this is the legacy AgentForce Studio. We have a new AgentForce Studio, which we will see very soon. But the thing is, the new AgentForce Studio or agent script is currently in beta, and it will become GA in 2026. And that's the reason both of this AgentForce Studio will coexist until Salesforce decides to deprecate this AgentForce Studio. But I feel like it will take some time because there have been a lot of agents that we have already built using this existing AgentForce Studio. So they have to come up with the framework to migrate those agents to the new agent. So the first thing is that your existing agent, you cannot work on that using the agent script. So if you have to make any changes to your existing agents that you have built for your client, for your POC, if you want to make any changes to that, you still have to do that from your existing AgentForce Studio from here only. So here I have not enabled it. Let me just enable it here. And from here only, you will be seeing your existing agent. If you want to make changes, you can do from here only. And the new AgentForce Studio is only for the agent, which we will create using the agent script. So if you're creating new agents, then only you will use the new agent script. For your existing agent that you have not created in agent script, you won't be able to access that or, make changes to that from the new AgentForce Studio. And that was one of the reason that I requested you to still go and watch the previous lectures, that how we built agent using the legacy AgentForce Studio, because it's going to exist for some time before Salesforce deprecated. So you might have to work on this AgentForce Studio as well. So if you want to work with your existing agent, or if you want to create agents using the previous approach, then you will go to the AgentForce agent. Now, how do we access the new AgentForce Studio where we can create agent script? It's a Lightning app actually. So you don't have to go to the setup for that. Rather, you should come here, AgentForce Studio. So you see AgentForce Studio is an app. And when you open this one, this is where we should be able to create our agent script. And right now you see that I don't have any agent created. That's why it's showing 0 items. And from here we can create it. One important point to note is that with this, Salesforce has actually tried to give us a unified interface to work with everything related to GenAI. So previously, you know that if you want to build agents, you will go to the AgentForce Studio from setup. If you want to create test, you will again go to the setup and search for test center. If you want to create prompt templates, you will again search in the setup. So everything is actually now available here. I mean, they still point to that URL only. So from here, if I click it, it will take me to the prompt builder here. But it's like, everything is available on one single screen. Data, if you want to work with the RAG and AgentForce data library, then you will use that, AI models and everything. So this new AgentForce Studios, this page is a unified page from where we can access all of these things. and the new agent using agent script we are going to create from here. Now, before starting this agent script, since it's a scripting language, so there are certain syntax which you have to remember. And again, I don't want you to remember it right away. So this is what it is, but I want to first create this first agent. So you see all of this practically before remembering it. So maybe to this one, we will come back later after creating our first agent. And how do we access actions? How do we access topic? How do we access variables and all that thing? What does this symbol means? What does this pipe symbol means? All of this, I don't want you to remember right now. But let's actually create an agent where you will see that most of these things I'm going to use. And once we see that practically, then maybe we can come back here and then we can understand the theory of it. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to deploy this GitHub repo because it has some of the custom objects like SoftRink and SoftRink order related. So I want to utilize that. So what I can do is, and we have already done that. So I'm just going to deploy this code to my org. So I'm going to go to my IDE. So this is cursor. This is what I use. If you're using if you're using VS Code, then that's fine. You can just do git clone and let me go into this. So here I have, and I will have to authorize. So let me quickly authorize. Okay, so let me authorize here. And I have authorized, so let's wait for it to complete. Okay, yeah, so authorization is successful now. Then the next step is I want to deploy these objects and all. So let me click here and deploy this source to org. And let's go back to our org meanwhile. So we are going to create our agent from here, and I have already shown you that from here when we create agent, we will see the canvas as well as the script. So both way we can create our agent. But other than that, for the pro code developer, since agent script is a scripting language, so you can actually use your IDE to work on these agent script. So I will show you here. This is the hotel agent that I was showing in the Salesforce org. Now this hotel agent, you can actually bring it or you can create from your IDEs as well. And the fact that I was telling that everything is just one single file, you can see it from here. So this hotel agent.agent is the single file, and all of these are like, sections of that one file. So when you're working on the Salesforce UI, you can actually go into each section and can only modify that. But when you're working from your IDE, you will see one single file and everything will be available here. So now those who prefer to work from IDE, this is really awesome. So now you can work from your IDE and see if I'm using cursor. If you're using VS Code with GitHub Copilot, you can also utilize your AI assistant to help you quickly build these agents as well. So if you are enrolled into my other course where we learned how to do Salesforce development using AI, there we learned that how to use this cursor GitHub Copilot to quickly build Salesforce components, LWC, Apex configuration tools and all. Now you can utilize that to create your agent as well, because it will help you to build your agent quickly. Now for you to work with your agent script in your IDE, you actually need a new extension, which is basically this one, agent script. Again, most probably this extension will become the part of Salesforce extension pack, but right now you need to individually install it. So this agent script is the one that you need to work with the agent script. And also, when you're working here, you do not want to go to Salesforce org to test your agent, right? So here I have this agent. Let's say that I made some changes and I want to test it. Then what should I do? Should I deploy and then test it in the org? Then that's actually not a very good experience for developers. They are generally want to work in their IDs, test in their ID. So for that, we have this AgentForce DX where you can build your agent and it will be able to see how many agents you have in your local repo and you can test it. Now this is also an extension. So when I was showing here, this AgentForce DX is one of the extension. You can install it, and what it will give you is, it will give you the ability to test your agent right from your IDE. So this hotel agent, when I'm making some changes here, I can, just start the test here. So as I make my changes here, I can test that from this interface. Okay. Yeah, you see, this is the same preview mode that I'm seeing here. Again, I have not shown you the preview mode from the Salesforce UI, but if you're working in your IDE, then you can write your code, you can write your script here, and then you can test it from here. But the thing is, here you can only use the scripting language. You don't get that UI, the canvas that we were showing. So if you want to work with the script only and you want to work from your IDE, then this is a very good option for you. And let's just see that if the component is deployed. Yeah, so it seems like all the components are deployed. Yeah, I see all of this is deployed. Perfect. So let me refresh here once. And let's just see if we have the software drink. Yeah, we have the objects created. So now let's create our agent. So you can create your agent from here, or if you have existing agent script, then you can also create that from here, which means that, you know, if I have this script file here, this script file, then I can also create my agent directly from the script file. But for now, let's create it from here. In this use case, we are going to build the very same agent which we built, which will help user to find the, which will help user with respect to the soft drink orders, right? So let's call it soft drink agent maybe. And now you will see that other than this script and canvas, there is one more way with which you can build your agent script, and that is using AgentForce. So this AgentForce can actually help you to build agent. Like you can, you know, give your instruction here and it can modify your files here. So this is actually a cool feature. You can just try it out. So what are the different ways of building agent? You can build from canvas, you can build from script, you can work with this AgentForce agent and it can help you, you know, modify your agent. And if you're a pro code developer, then you can also work directly in your IDE and test it from IDE before you deploy. So these are the different ways of working with this agent. And now it is saying that if you want to build your agent, do you want to take help from AgentForce to build, or you want to build yourself? I'll say that skip ahead. I actually don't want to use this for now. So you can actually, you know, hide this panel from here, I guess. Yeah. So what is the name of our agent? We will call it soft drink agent. And right. And here again, the same thing. What is this agent user? Now this we have already seen in we had seen in the legacy AgentForce builder also, that your service agents always run in the Einstein users context. Now one thing that I want to highlight here is that this new AgentForce builder or this agent script is currently in beta and it will keep on evolving. So you will see a lot of changes coming up. The UI that I'm showing you right now may change. It's in beta, so Salesforce is making a lot of changes. So the very first thing is that this agent script as well as this new AgentForce builder, you can only build service agents. So you cannot build employee agent or agent for setup. So those kind of agent which we saw in the legacy AgentForce builder, so those you cannot build as of now from this new AgentForce builder. But since it's in beta and once it go GA, I think by that time that ability will come. But as of today, it's only going to help you to build your service agents. So it's saying that do you want to use existing user or new agent? This is a new org. I don't have existing user. So I'm asking it to create a new agent user. This agent will help in soft drink orders. And let's click on save. So it's giving me the option create new agent or choose existing. Let's create a new one. Okay, why this is still giving me error. Yeah, so this is saved. And now you see that I did all of this from the UI, but my script is actually getting created in the backend. So the developer name is this, the agent user, which it just created. So I didn't have existing agent. So it just created a new agent for me. And that's the username of this agent. That's the username of this user. Agent label is this and description is this. So you can do this from config. If you don't want to do it from UI, you can do this. If you have existing user, you can just give that name here. But you saw that when I was doing from canvas, it did a lot of things automatically. I didn't have to create this user to get my username. All of this, it helped me. Okay, so in the system, what is the welcome message that we want to give? This is fine. Error message is fine. What languages our agent supports? English is fine for now. And then you see that by default, you got lot of topics here. The topic selector topic, escalation topic, off topic, and ambiguous question. And for now, let me change to the script, and let me show you all of this. So we have this system got configured here, configured here, and the variables also came here. These are the messaging variable or the system variables that our agent can use. The language we have set as English, and this maybe for now, let me just remove all of this. And the first thing that you see is a start agent topic selector, and let me just talk about it, but I'm going to remove these topics for now. I'll talk about it. I mean, you should keep it actually. These are the standard topics which were there in our legacy agent as well. But for now, to keep it simple, I'm going to remove all of this. And here I should just remove it. Let me just save it. So the first thing and the most important thing is that your agent will always have this topic called start agent. So this is actually a topic, although it's not saying that it's a topic, but from here you can see that the start agent, the name of that is topic selector, is a topic, and it is always going to proceed with start underscore agent. All of your custom topic that you are going to create will start from topic, but this the first one, topic selector, you can change the name here, but this the prefix should always be start agent, and this is mandatory. And as the name suggests, this is the topic that your agent will go first. So the moment it receives a prompt, this is the topic where it will go, and from here it will go to your custom topics. So right now you see that from this topic we are going to this topic. As we will create more and more topic in our upcoming lecture, you will see that if you create it from the UI, you will see that automatically there will be one action get added for all of your topic. And you already saw that when I removed those existing topic, then there was a reference to those topic. So there is an action to that topic. So as we know that actions are the one which actually performs a job, and these are usually actions written in flows, apex, prompt template. But in your new agent script, there is an action to go to a topic. So from one topic you can actually go to another topic. Now this is a topic, and from this topic it is actually going to this topic. There is no description added here, but we should add description. This will help this topic to decide that which topic I should go. So once we create a topic for, let's say, software inc order management, we will add a description to this topic saying that you should go to this topic whenever user is asking with respect to software inc. So this is one important thing that you have to remember. The first topic in your agent script agent will always be, I mean, this name is, you can change, but it will always be start agent, and you can give any name. This will be the default topic, and you should not actually write a lot of business logic or any other instruction. The job of this one is actually to just find the correct topic for the request. So whenever a prompt comes up, this topic will be executed and it will just go to the correct topic. So as I add more topic, this action will keep on increasing here. So which means that when we create our custom topic, from that topic I can also go to some other topic using this action. So this is actually an action here. So these are standard actions actually. You have to remember this, that if you want to transition from one topic to another topic, you can use utils.transition to topic escalation. And let's actually see this from the canvas also, because if you don't remember the syntax, this is the syntax to go from one topic to another, @utils.transition to the name of the topic. So this is the escalation and it is one of the topics. So @topic.escalation. Now let's just see this, how we can do this from the canvas as well. So if I can be here and just switch to canvas. So here you see that we have this transition to escalation, and how is it there? So this is basically when you are here, let's say that you gave a name to your action. We will see this once we create our new topic. We will see that you can give your action name like this. And now we want to utilize this out of the box standard action. So just press this /, and now you will see that all the inline action. So this is actually comes into the inline action. From here we want to perform some action. I can set a variable, I can transition to some other topic. So just use this transition to, and then select the topic escalation. Okay, now if you go to the script, okay, this is actually not correct. That's where I'm saying that this changes are still there. So it actually didn't write it correctly. It should be @utils dot transition to. So this is the correct syntax that should have come here, but it didn't do that. So what happens if you don't put a correct syntax? So this is what came when I was in the canvas. It gave transition to this, but this is actually going to give me a syntax error. Right, you see that I got an error, and the error is, let me go to here. You see that it's giving me error here. So if you see here, invalid tool declaration. So it's saying that this tool is invalid. So it's actually, and the correct syntax is utils dot transition to. Yeah, now you see that error gone. So that's the problem. And as I said, it has some issues right now because it's in beta. It will be fixed. So although we were able to use this action from the canvas, but the problem is that the syntax was not correct. So whatever you do from the canvas view, it will actually be converted into the script, and script syntax should be correct. So if the syntax is not correct, then you will start seeing error. So that's why you need to remember the syntax also when working. I mean, you should be able to do a lot of things from the canvas, but if something breaks, you should at least know, you should have the access to documentation to understand that what is wrong there. Okay. So let's switch to the script, and that is where we saw that the first important thing is that every agent will have a by default topic. You can have many topics, but at least one topic. The job of this topic is very simple. It's only going to have actions to go to different topics. So let's say that you have one for order management, one for account management, one for case management. Then you will have 3 actions here. First would be go to account management, that will use @util.transition to @topic, the name of the topic, account management. Then you will have one more action here. You will create one more action. Let's say that I don't have that topic, but you will say that go to case maybe, and then you will say that @utils.transition to and the topic name. So this is how your action will be, and you will have description also, which will help this topic to know that where to go. Okay, so let me remove it. So now the next thing that we want to do is that this is the agent script that got created. Actually, this is nothing else we have done as of now. We just removed few topics, the additional topic, and we removed it from the start agent. So in our next lecture, let's create our own custom topic, and then you will see that how everything is going to fall into place and how we can create actions and how invoke those actions, and we'll see the working of this agent. So as of now, we have our agent created, and it's just a basic skeleton as of now. There is no topic as such. I mean, it's not doing anything. So now our next task is to actually add a topic. But first of all, let me give a quick recap of what exactly we are building right now. So let me duplicate it here. So what we want is, we have this softring object, right? And I think I don't have any record as such. So let me create a record. Let's call it cola. Price is $5, and total quantity we have is 100. For this, let's say that there is a soft drink order. Okay. Account is not needed. Cola for quantity 5. And the order number is 100. The status is currently open. Okay, so there is a soft drink order. So whenever a customer calls us and says that what is the status of my order, then we would need the order number from them, and by getting the order number, we should be able to tell them the status. So this is the task that we want to solve it. This is something we had already done it, but now we are doing that with the agent script. So the first thing is that we need to go ahead and add a topic which will help this agent to find the status of an order. Now that topic will have action. Again, we have covered this in the detail that the backbone of an agent is topics, instructions, and actions. Now in this case, we need to create a topic to find the order status of soft drink order. For that, we will create a topic, we'll add instruction, and it will execute some actions. So what type of action we should have here? So I think we can create a very simple flow action here. Again, I'm hoping that you have watched those 7 or 8 lectures which I requested, because there we have discussed this in detail, how to create these actions in flow, how to create these actions in Apex, and what exactly is action and how does it help. So I hope you have seen those. So I would quickly go ahead and create an action. And if you have any confusion, please go and watch those lectures again. So let's create a very simple action of type flow. So let's quickly create a flow. And as we have discussed, if you want your flow to be available as an action for your agents, then it should be of type auto launch flow. We couldn't create a flow. Why? This is fine. Let's just see that. So first thing is, in this flow, what do we want to do? To this flow, we will pass the order number. Basically, the agent is going to pass the order number, let's say 100, and then it should return back the status as open, right? This is what we want to do. So there will be an input variable for this flow, and it should return back the output, which is the status of the order. So let's create a variable order number. And yeah, make sure to give the description, because this description will become the description of this input field when we are going to create an action out of it. The order number given by user, and order number is actually of type number, and it will be available for input. So this is very important. Only if a field is available for input, then only the agent will be able to place value to that field. Okay, so let's click on done, and I got an error, so let me just save it first. Order status flow helps in finding the soft drink order status. So make sure that you're giving a good description. It will help the agent to locate this action and to invoke this action when it thinks that it should invoke action. So let's save it. Yeah. Cool. So I think we should go. Okay, I have an order number, and what do we want to return from here is order status. So let's create a new variable called order status. The status of order of soft drink order, and it will be of type text, and make sure that you are checking the available for output, so that this becomes the output of your action. Okay, so what do we want to do it? We want to find a soft drink order with this order number. So we should add a get record element, get soft drink orders. Okay, how do we want to search that soft drink order? Based on the order number given by the agent. So this is the order number that is going to come from agent. We'll find the order, and I just need the first order, and let's just set the value in separate variables. So we want to set this status value. Let's store it in this order status variable. Okay, so when this flow will run, what will happen is, yeah, it's saved now. What will happen is this path will run. It will find the soft drink order based on the order number given by the agent, and it will store the status into this field called order status. And since it is available for output, our agent will be able to see the status. So let me quickly activate this flow. Yep. So now we have a flow, and now since this flow is of type auto launch flow, so we should be able to use it to create a agent action. So I'm here, let me save it here first, and now maybe let's refresh also, so that it starts seeing this new flow. And now what do we want to do is, let me go to the canvas so that you can see that how we can create topics and actions from the UI instead of writing script code for that. So when you are on the topic here, just click on this plus icon and create a new topic. So we are going to say that order management, right? Similarly, you can create topic for account management, case management. So all the topics you will create and open. So now you see that we have a topic and the description, which is important because this is the description that agent will look. This topic helps in finding the order status for a soft drink. I mean, not just a status, but if you want to create a soft drink order, all of that maybe you can write here. It's a generic topic, not just status finder. If you want, you can have a status finder topic. You can have a order creation topic. You can segregate that way also. But for now, I'm just creating one topic. Okay, so with that, let me just save it. I want to show something here. The moment we created a topic here, now you see that this agent script is updated. We have a new order management, and by default, this order management will go and link to the topic selector. So if I show you this now, you see that we have this go to escalation, transition to escalation, and go to order management, which is transition to order management. So as you create more and more topic, all of that will keep on linking to this starting topic. Again, we discussed that this, okay, so again we discussed that what happens here is that I think it's not saved. Yeah, so what happens here is that as you create a new topic, this topic will be linked here, and you see that it is not actually adding the description, which is actually not correct. I mean, it wrote some code for you. It created this topic block for you. Otherwise, what we had to do is we had to create a topic and name it, and then we'll give a label name, description, and reasoning instruction is currently blank. So as you put values in your UI, this script will keep on updating, and you see that this topic is also linked here. But since the description didn't came, what we should do is, description is very important, because this is what your this topic will use to understand that which action to invoke. This topic helps in finding order status, right? So similarly, let me copy this here. And yeah, most importantly, I didn't talk about it. So this is a YAML like structure. If you're adding some value for this particular element, then you have to put like a tab space here. So how I did it, let me just cut it. So if I'm adding something within this, so if you have used any other programming language, you know that we start a curly brace to say that I'm writing for this particular block or for this particular method. But in YAML or maybe Python, how we do it, we use the indentation. So you see that this is how it is starting. This is the block system, and all of these are part of this block, right? Now this instruction is part of this because it is inside this. So there is an indentation. So these two are on the same level, but this messages further have child elements. So welcome and error is the child elements of the message. Again, all of this was actually written. We didn't wrote it, but that's how you have to write it. The language works this way. So you have the main block. If you want to write within that, you won't create a curly braces, but we'll use the indentation. So here there is an indentation. You can use two spaces, or you can use tab and then instruction and messages. Now within messages, we want to have some parameter. So welcome and error are child of messages, right? So within messages, we need to create an indentation, and it will be there. Similarly, if you see variable, this is the end user ID, and then these two are part of this variable. Right. Similarly, if you see this topic escalation, we have label, description, and reasoning. They all are at the same level, but within reasoning, now we have instructions and actions. So there is a space, and then we are adding this block. So that is why I'm telling that is because now I want to add a description for this particular action, right? So how do I write it? If I write it here, then it's like it's at the same level, but because I'm writing for it, I should go inside it by pressing tab. Again, you can use two spaces or just press tab, and now you are inside that. So then you should write description. Okay. Now this description is part of this particular action. Similarly for this also, let's add a description. I mean, it's self-explanatory for agent, but let's say that this topic helps in escalating to human agent. Okay, let me save it. So yeah, let me go back to the canvas mode again. This is what we created, a new topic called order management. And this is our topic, order management. We have added the description. We have not given any instruction, and this topic does not have an action. So what we do is we have to create an action, and that action will be available for a topic. So this I want to explain based on our previous agent builder. So if you remember, for a topic, this food booking topic, this topic will have instructions and it will have actions, correct? And these actions are for this particular topic. Similarly, if I go to other topic, then this is the topic, these are the instruction for it, and these are the actions. So something similar we have to do here as well. So now we have this topic. For this topic, we need to add actions that are available for this topic. So while finding the software order status, it can execute those actions. So for that, within this topic, we need to create actions. And let's click on this. It's very similar to how we were creating actions previously. If you're on a canvas mode, you will feel like you're working with the existing agent builder only. So let's say that So let's call it order status. And now you see that it's the very same UI. The description is not populated. So we can say that this action helps in finding the order status. And then if you see the reference action type, okay, basically it got updated. So as I'm saying that it's in the beta right now. So like few days back it was only Apex and Flow. Recently prompt template got added, now API is added. So it's keep on updating every day. As I said, this agent builder we can only use to create service agent, but very soon you will be able to create employee agent also. So all of that option are keep on coming, and that is why you might also see some issues here because it's in beta, because there are a lot of changes that is coming up. You might see some issues, although you would have done everything correct. You might see certain issues, so don't worry. I think all of that will be fixed as this becomes GA. So we need flow, right? So in the flow we have this order status flow, right? This is the flow that we created, I hope so. Yeah, order status flow. And now you see that the order number given by user, it is available now. Order status, the status of the software order, include in agent context and show in conversation. So now it means that this box is actually important. It says that the value of this output will be available. Agent will be able to see that. Okay, so if you see, when enable, this output parameter is added to the conversation history and made available for reasoning. So now once the output is available, our agent will be able to tell what is the status of that order. Okay, so yeah, this is fine. The action looks good to me, and let's save it. Now you see that for this topic that there is one action got created. And now if I go to this order management, and let me just show it from script again. So here we have this again, the indentation will be followed. You see that label, description, reasoning, these three are like at same level. Similarly, reasoning and actions both are child of this topic, right? Instruction is a child of reasoning, and this order status is one of the actions. So it's a child of actions. So that's where you see that all this indentation is followed. Now for this topic, this is the action definition. It's still not available for the topic. This is the action definition for this action, which is basically this flow that we have here, but this is still not included in the order management topic. Let me just finish this and then I'll explain it what exactly is happening because this is little confusing. So let's go back to this order management in the canvas. Now we are saying that this is our topic. So the first thing is instruction and actions. We have to give both of this, right? So the instruction, we can say that is, you can give instruction like this. Your job is to help the customer in finding the order status only. Similarly, we can say that for finding the order status, order number is required. Okay, and we can add more instruction. To find the order status, invoke this action. So this is very similar to what we used to do here. You remember we used to say that invoke this action, and we are just saying the action name, but we were not able to embed the action into the instruction. But with this agent script, we should be able to do that. But before doing that, as I said, this action, the action that you see here is just the definition of the action, and it's not yet available for this topic. Now to make it available for this topic, we have to select here, and you will see that for this topic, these are the available action definition, and then you can link these actions to this topic. So I can have like 10 action definition here, but if I only want to use 3 or 4 of it, then I have to manually add that and define how the parameters will go there. So let me just put it here and then I'll explain you. I mean, this is a little confusing, but just bear with me. So now you remember that this action, the flow action, is requiring an input field called order number. And now here is where agent script now gives you the ability to say that the input field order number, how does that value go? Is it going to be agent populated? So this agent populated is actually called as LLM slotting. In the agent script, you will see 3 dots, dot, 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 and it's called LLM slotting, which means that we are saying that to our agent that you need to invoke this order status action, and there the order number you should populate, which means that based on the conversation that we have, let's say the user says that what is the status of my order 100, then that 100 is something that you should put here. So this is where we are using the non-deterministic approach, where we are trusting that our agent will be able to fill in the value. So for the very first version of this software agent, I'll actually go with this approach where I'll show you that the way we were creating agent non-deterministic, it will be very similar here. And then when we create the version 2 of it, we'll see that how to make it deterministic by using variables and by using different filter condition. So for now, I'm just going to keep it this way. I'm not going to do anything. So it's saying that when you invoke this action, the input parameter for this order number will be agent populated, and it will be in the script. You will see 3 dots, which is called LLM slotting, or you can also change that by hard coding a variable or by hard coding some value. Like I can actually pass 100 from here, but that does not make any sense. But sometimes you might want to pass value as hard coded. For example, the temperature should be in Fahrenheit. So if you are invoking some services where there is a temperature type, then you want to pass the value always as Fahrenheit. Then you can hard code it, or you can actually use variables here. And this is something that I'll cover once we create a second version of this. This is the first version, a basic version. So let it be like this. And then again, it gives us the ability saying that this action will return order status. You remember this is actually returning this order status. Do you want to store it into some variable? Why do you want to store it? Because maybe you want to use it for the next task. You remember when we were talking about action chaining, maybe the output of the first action you want to use as an input to the next action. In that case, you may want to store this order status in a separate variable and then use that variable as an input to the next action. But for now, we are not doing that. This is just going to tell me the status. I'm not going to pass that status to next action, or I'm not requiring that for further processing, so I'll keep it. Now with this, let me just save it, and here you will not see much difference. So now from here you will see that I have order management, this is the description, and these are the instruction, and this is the action available. Now this structure where you have topic, you have instruction, and you have actions is very similar to how we used to create here. We have a topic, and we have instructions, and we have actions, right? This is something that we have done. But now you will see little difference here when I show you this in the script manner here. So here, if you go to topic order management, I have topic, I have instructions, I have actions. The instructions, this reasoning, this topic has instructions and actions, but then there is another actions. What does it mean? Why we have 2 actions? So as I said, this is just the definition of this action. Basically, this flow action is represented in this manner, that there is an order status. The type of that action is of flow. So this action order status is going to invoke the flow. Similarly, if you have Apex action, you will define that. So this basically represents what we have in legacy agent builder was the assets. So if you remember AgentForce assets, where we used to create actions, right? So let me just show you that. I mean, I'm just trying to correlate things so that if you have built these agent previously, you can actually correlate it and it will be easy for you. So previously we used to create actions, right? We used to create actions from here. So this is the definition of the action. And then when I add this action to my topic, that is where this action is available for that topic, correct? So we create an action from here, correct? This is how we create action. Let's say flow action. If I have something, let's say this is so this is how I created the action. So when you saw in the agent script, when I created this action, I did something like this, and this will create a definition of this action. But now this action is not yet available for my agent as well as for my topic. To do that, I'll go to that topic and I'll select this action. So this is very similar thing what we have done here. We created the definition of action here, and then we said that this action is available for my topic. Now that brings us to a very important point. In agent script, these actions are not global. They are static. So previously, if you used to create an action from here, let's say I created a global action, then this action can be added into multiple topics of different actions. Okay, right? I can create a generic action and I can invoke it from two different agents, two different topics. But here, these actions are local. This definition of action is local to this agent and it's only available here. Okay, and that too within this topic. So this action can only be used here. Now, if you want to use the same action in your another agent, then what you will have to do is you will have to actually copy paste it. So the actions are no longer global. Okay, in previous legacy AgentForce agent, we used to create global actions that can be referenced into multiple topics of different agents. But now all these actions are going to be local actions of a agent. So you will have to, if you need the same order status action in your some other agent, you will have to copy this definition here, or maybe, you know, same way you will create a actions within the topic. Okay. As I said, this is little confusing, but as we create more and more example, this will become little clearer. So this is a topic, this is a reasoning, and in the reasoning we are saying that this is the instruction, this is the action that this topic has, and this action is actually pointing to this action. So from here we are saying that to get the order status, invoke this action. In this, there is a order number, which is an input field, and order status, which is an output. So we are saying that when you are invoking this order status action here, so this is how you execute an action from the actions block. Again, that sheet I was showing, let me quickly show you that. So when you execute an action, you execute it like this, @actions dot the action name. And if you have to execute the action from the instruction, then we use run command. Let's not go into that. I'll show you that later. But this one, to execute actions, you use @actions dot action name. So this is our action order status. How do I execute it? @actions dot order status. And then if you have to pass the input fields, then you will do with. So again, if I show you here, with passes input value to an action, while set stores return value. So if I want to store the output, which is basically this order status, into some variable, do we have any variable? Yeah, if I have some variable here, let's say this verified customer ID or some custom variable, I want to store that value, then I will say that set the variable name equal to the output that is coming here. Okay, this order status. But right now we are not storing that, so that's why you're not seeing that. But this is how we, from this action block of this topic, we are saying that you will execute this action, which is basically the actions definition. And in this one, the order number is the input field, and this is where we are doing the LLM slotting. In the canvas, it was showing that agent populated, but in the script, it will show you 3 dot, which means that it is telling to the compiler that it is LLM slotting, and agent should use its reasoning to tell what is the order number, right? We are not hard coding it. We are not using some variables. So we are not deterministic here. We are non-deterministic here, which means that we are giving the freedom to the agent to fill in the order number here. Okay, and once we modify this agent in our upcoming lecture, there we will see that how we can fix this non-deterministic to deterministic approach. Okay, so I think that's it. So let me just save it. And let's go back to, I want to add one more instruction, and let me add that instruction from canvas only again. So here, now I want to say that to find the status of the order, invoke this action. And now in my instruction only directly I can embed a action. So that to do that, you need to use @ and you see that it's saying that this is an action available. So here you see that I have one action available for this topic. That's why it is showing me that do you want to invoke this? I'm saying yes. So now I'm embedding the action here. This is as good as what we used to do here. Okay. So this is as good as writing this instruction that, yeah, invoke this action, validate customer. So here it was just a string, but here with the agent script, I'm actually referencing the action, and let me save it. Let's go to the script And you see that here, to find the status of the order, invoke this action. So how do you reference that action? From the instruction block is this way. Using the curly braces, this is called template expression. Using the curly brace and exclamation mark, you write the same way, actions.order status. So here, let me go to the entire script. Yeah. So here, if you see that from actions, if I have to invoke this action, then we are saying that @actions order status. And from instructions, if I have to execute this order status action, then I'll use the curly braces. Basically, this is pointing to this order status and this is pointing to this order status. So this is a little confusing. Let me just do it this way. Let's call it order status action. Then let me save it. Then it will start giving error here. Now you see that. So this one is actually pointing to this action, not to this action. And from the action block, we actually point to the actions definition. So now here it should be order status action. Okay, just so that you are aware, from the instruction you are referring to these actions, and from the action block you are referring to the actual actions definition. Okay, these are just the name for this which we can refer. Okay, and with this I think we are done. This is our agent which should be able to help us find the order status. So for this agent we are pretty much done. Actually, the job of this agent, at least for this topic, was to help in finding the order status. So all of that which was needed is done. We have an action here. We have an action which can get an order number and can return a status. And then here we have defined that to get the order status, it needs to execute this action, which is basically this flow that we have created. Passing the order number, it will get back the order status. Actually, this line is a bit more redundant, but this is again to make sure that your agent is invoking this action. I mean, this makes sense when you have multiple actions where you can say that for this you invoke this action. But since this topic only have one action, so this is the action that it will invoke. I know there are a lot of things that we did, so I'll do a quick revisit once we complete this part. There are a few more things to be done before we can test it. And to test it, you see the preview mode is here. This is very similar to what we saw in the legacy AgentForce builder, but it is an upgraded version of it. And this we will see that once we preview it. Now, before we preview it, if you remember, this agent is actually running in this user's context. And we discussed that this Einstein user should have access to the data, to the Apex classes and anything that your agent requires. In this case, this agent is actually invoking this flow, right? So flow access as such, we don't have to give. Flow access users already have. The only thing is, if we go to this flow, it is actually reading this object, right? So it needs a read access to the soft drink order. It is reading this field order number. So it needs a read access to that. And it's also reading this status field. So it needs access to this. So that's the thing that is left right now. What we have to do is for this user, let's find this user. So system has created this user and this is the username of that. So let me do this. Select ID from user where username is this. To this user, we have to make sure that this user have access to the permissions. And before doing that, I mean, I know that this is needed. And before doing that, I'll show you why this is needed, why it needs the permission. If you go to this flow, we don't know whether this flow is working fine or not. So let's just debug it. And I'm going to debug it with the order number as 100. And let's just run it. Let's see what happens. So we see that it found the order with the order number 100 and the status is open. Does that mean that this flow is working fine? No, because as we had discussed, when this flow will be executed from this AgentForce agent, it will run in this user's context. So if I have to test this flow, I should test it with this user. Right now, this user does not have access to these objects. So what will happen is, let's see that if I go back and do the debug, okay, this option will be disabled in your org. And to enable it, what you can do is just go to process. I actually want to run this flow as some other user. So for that, go to the process automation setting. And here there should be an option, let admin debug flow as other users. So just check this, save it. and now this option will be enabled. So let's just see that. Okay, I think I have to refresh it. Now let's debug it. Now you see this option is enabled. So let's run it as another user, which is basically this one, Einstein service agent user. Agent script is my username, and this is the agent user. I can check it from here. Now, if I run this, what will happen? Let's just see that. So we see that we got an error. The error occurred when the flow tried to look up this field, status C and order number C, because it does not have access to that. So that is where this step is important, that this user, which we have, Einstein service agent user, this is the user we are going to use as a Einstein user for our AgentForce agent, right? So this user should have access to the at least the object, right? If it were a Apex class, it should have access to the Apex class. So we should have gone to the Apex classes access and should have given the access, but right now it needs access to the soft drink order. So let's give it minimal access. It needs a read access to this. It is looking for the order number field. It needs read access to that. It is looking into the status field, so it needs read access to that. And I think that should be fine. Let's just save it here. And let's just debug it again with the same user. Okay, this time it is working fine for this user because he has the access to that. Now with that, I think we are pretty much done. We have our topic, we have our action, and that action is being executed by this topic. This topic is going to be called by the start agent here. Whenever user is asking anything related to finding order status, it will execute this, it will transition to this topic. In this topic, it will run this instruction, ensuring that there is an order number given or not. Okay, so let's just save it and let's just preview it now. So this is the preview mode, and as I said, this is an enhanced version of the preview. As you will see that the planner is much more detailed. You can see the trace is very much enhanced, and let's just do that. So what is the status of order 100? The status of order 100 is open. Would you like more detail about this? Help with another. So you see that this is where you see that what your planner did. It got an input, then it went to the topic selector. From there, it transitioned to the order management topic. In the order management topic, it did the reasoning. Again, this is not detailed, but you can click on that and you can see the entire trace, what happened here. So this was the output that came. The input was what is the status of order 100, and this is where it started. It started doing all of this, and that is what you are seeing in the high level at this top, order management. Then it executed this action called order status action. And okay, why did it run it this again? Okay, so there is a problem. As I said, there could be some problem. It should have only executed this action once. Maybe it was not able to get the response here. Let's just see that. Here in the detail, you can see that it executed this action called order status action. It passed the order number as 100 and it got the status back, right? Order status and open. Yeah, so I have noticed that, and as I said, it is still in beta. It's actually executing the action couple of times. So here it executed here and then again here, and that's where it gave the output. And sometime I have seen that it is executing the action multiple times. And again, nothing to worry. It's still in beta. It still have some issues which will be fixed. But the good point is that our agent is able to get us the response. So the debugging part of this agent script is also better as compared to the legacy one, because you see that what actually happened. We got the input from there. It started the topic selector because this is the start agent topic, right? So here we saw that this topic selector is the topic which is referred as start agent. So every prompt that we will give, it will always go to this topic. From here, it has to decide what topic to be invoked. So here, since the query was about soft drink order status, so this description is helping it to find that it should navigate to the order management, transition to the order management. So then it went to the order management, it ran all this instruction, and it has access to this action. And this action is basically invoking this action that we have defined here. Order number it is expecting, and it is invoking the flow. Flow is returning the order status. And since we have said that is used by planner, so when I was showing it on the UI, there was a checkbox that it is available for the context and is it displayable or not. So both were true. So all that parameter is here and it is able to do that. So let's do it one more time, and I won't give it the order number. What is the status of my order? Okay, now you see that input came, topic selector, this is again the default topic that it will always execute, went to the order management. In the order management, it was doing the reasoning, and that is where it realized that the agent received the user input, what is the status of my order. It identified the correct topic as order management and transitioned to the corresponding topic agent. The agent then requested the order number from the user, stating please provide. Why that? Because that's our instruction right here. We said that for finding the order status, order number is required. So it is asking for the order number right now. So once I give that, then okay, the your order with order number 100 is currently open. So again, you see, okay, now we see that we have some problem here. This time the input was 100 here. What happened is with this input, it went to the topic selector topic, the default topic. From there, it went to the correct order management. In the order management, it did the reasoning and it found out that, okay, the order number is given. So it executed the action. The action, it passed order number as 100 and it got the order status as open. So it should have actually stopped here. But then what happened is it went back to the reasoning again, ran the action again, reasoning action. Okay, so this is problem, and yeah, I have seen this, and it's actually very annoying when you will see that when we are invoking action that creates record, we will see that it is creating multiple records because of this. But this is again, I'm hoping that all of this will be fixed. It's still not yet completely matured. That's why it's still in beta. So all of these issues will be resolved. But I hope you understood how it is working right now. And we created this agent in a very similar approach how we used to create, but in a different agent builder now. So we use the canvas to create the new topic called order management. And let me just go to the canvas. We created this topic called order management. We added the description, we added the instructions, and then we created a action in a flow. This is our flow that's actually sending us the status. And then we created this as an action. The only confusion you might have is what is this action and what is this action. So this is the definition of the action, that this is an action which is a type flow, and it is going to refer this flow. To this flow, we need to pass order number and we need to pass orders and it will return order status. So this is the action. This is the definition of the action. And now if I have to give access to this action, then that I have to specify in the topic. Again, if you want to correlate it with our previous legacy AgentForce agent, then you remember we used to add these actions, but these actions are actually created from here, right? From your assets. So from your assets also you can create these actions. Once you create actions from here, they are available to be added onto your topic, correct? And that's how we used to add it. So creating the action from here, like this is actually what we did here. When we created this action, then we were doing this part, which is like creating the definition of the action, that this action is of type flow, of type prompt template, of type apex, whatever it is, what type of input it is, what is the description of all of that. That's the definition of the action. And then I want this action to be available for my topic. Then we need to do that in the actions available for this topic. Okay. So yeah, let's just see this now completely. So this is our system config, nothing fancy here. Variables we have not used as of now, so we will discuss it in upcoming lecture. Language we have defaulted to English. And then what is start agent? So from the reasoning you would have seen that this is the topic that is always executed at the first. Every prompt, it will always go here and it will then reason which topic to be executed. So any topic that you will create, there will be a corresponding transition action that will get added here in this topic, the default topic. And from here it will transition to the correct topic. And this is our topic where we added the instruction. We have this action definition, this one, and then this action is available here. And what is this 3 dot? This means that the order number will be given by the agent. So it's called LLM slotting. LLM will slot the value here, and we are not, using the procedural approach here. We are not using our existing variable. We are not hard coding the value. We are relying on the agent to find the order number and pass it here. And how are we ensuring that he will have order number is because of this instruction here. To find the order status, order number is required. So you see that although this agent we have created in agent script, but still this is very much non-deterministic, because what if it does not get the order number? What if it does not actually run this instruction and order number, I don't know whether it is passing the order number that was found here or not. So this is still very much non-deterministic. It is totally up to the LLM which is running in the behind the scene. How does it interpret it, and how does it interpret here, and is it passing the correct order number or not? So let's actually improve this agent, basically this topic, to make it little bit deterministic. So what we can do is, if you see that we have the versioning, so this version we are actually satisfied, maybe it is actually working, so I can commit this version, and let's just commit it. And in the next lecture, what we are going to do is we'll create a new version of it. So this is a committed version, right? And we can then activate this version. And then again, as we have already seen, we can use this agent as a omni-channel flows and all that, how to deploy it into your community site and all of that we can do later. But right now this agent is available. Now, if I have to make some changes, then what I'll do is I'll create a new draft version of it. So now I have a draft version. So I have a stable version which is committed, and I have a draft version. So let's modify this version in the next lecture to see that how can we make it deterministic, how can we use variables, how can we use filters, and ensure that the order number is always captured and stored in a variable, and then it is passed to the action. So till last lecture, we have our version 1 ready. And we also previewed it. It's working fine. It's able to take the order number, and it's able to give us the status. Now in this one, we are going to work with the second version which we created, the draft version. And the problem statement, as we discussed, was somewhere here in the order management. This is still a non-deterministic agent, right? Because here we are saying that for finding the order status, order number is required. And okay, this one is actually not required, we can remove it. Yeah, so this is our agent, and this is the instruction, and it's invoking this action. And as we discussed, this is non-deterministic. Now what do we want to have here? Now we want to add a procedural approach here which will ensure that the agent doesn't do something which it's not supposed to do. In this case, it's not supposed to invoke the action until we have an order number. So there are two things. We have to ensure that this action itself is not visible to this agent until the order number is available. And when the order number is available, it should be able to invoke this action, right? That's the thing we want to do. Now to achieve that, we need a variable which will tell us whether the order number is available or not. And we will have to add conditional statements, as well as we will have to add the filters when a particular action is available. Now to do that, since we are in the draft mode now, let's go to the variables. And at least for the variables, we do not have any UI. So even if you are in canvas mode or in script mode, you will see the same UI here. So we don't have a UI for it. So the first thing that I want to do is, these are all the system variable, or all the variables which are coming from the messaging session. Basically, this is to work with the context. When this is deployed to the community site, you want to have some information about the logged in user and all. You can do that with the help of these variables. If you want to remove, you can remove it, but let it be. We are not using them, but that's fine. So here I want to create a variable. So I'm going to call it order number. This is my variable. And how do you define it is this: you place a colon, and then you say, now I'm going to use a keyword, and we'll discuss this keyword. I'm saying mutable, and since it's order number, so the data type will be number. I will show you a sheet where we'll discuss what are the different data types. So every variable can be of type text, which means string, number, which means integer. For integer, you'll use number, and then you can use Boolean, you can use object. So all the data types that a programming language generally supports, that is supported here. So this is how you declare a variable. And what does mutable mean here? The mutable variable here means that this variable can be updated by the agent. So if you want your agent to update a variable, then you will declare it as a mutable. But if you want that your variable is not updatable by agent, then you will not declare it with mutable keyword. You'll simply declare it like order number, that's it. Right? So I hope you understood the concept of mutable and non-mutable variable. Mutable, as the name suggests, it is mutable. So the agent as well as you, with the help of action, can change the value. And you can declare these variables. So you see these are variables with no default value. But in this case, I actually want to declare it with a default value of 0. Basically, it's an identifier for me to know that this order number is not yet set. Okay. So if the order number is 0, it means that the value is not set. If it's a string variable, then you can initiate it with an empty string. And if the value is empty, it means that it's not yet initiated. And then, as we discussed, we need to add a description so that agent can understand what is this variable. So we can say that the order number given by user. Okay, so we just created a new variable now. So although I'm in canvas mode or in script mode, you will see the same. Let's go to the complete agent script definition, and you will see that these were the variables, and we declared our variable in the variable section. So we have seen all these sections. We have system, config, and now variables. So any variable that you want to use in your entire agent, you will declare them in the variable section. Okay, language we saw, start agent we saw, escalation is a topic. We'll discuss it, how to use it. And then we have our own custom topic called order management. So now let's switch back and go to the canvas. So now what do we want to do? So we have this variable called order number, right? And now I want to utilize this. So the first thing that I will do is I'll make sure that this order management topic never executes this action until the order number is provided. So although I'm saying that to find the status of this, I will update this instruction anyways. But first of all, let's come here. This is our instruction and this is our action. The first thing that I want to do is I want to say that I want to add a filter. So let's add a filter and let's say that available when order number, so search for it, order number is not equal to, so you can see all the operators are available, not equal to 0. Now I think it is very self-explanatory. I'm saying that this action, the order status, is only available when the order number is not 0. And that is why I initiated it with 0, because now I can say that this action is only available when the order number is not 0. So let me just save this part. And for now, let me just remove this here. Okay. As of now, we have not discussed about these annotation, but we will discuss that in this lecture only. And here you see that we are saying that available when variable dot order number is not 0. So right now, since we have initiated our variable with 0, so which means that when this agent runs for the first time, this action is not even available, although we have defined it here, although we have given this action here, but because of this, now this action is not available. So there is no way it can execute this action when the order number is 0. So let's go back to our canvas mode again. And yeah, so we have added the filter condition here. Now let's go back here. So the first is for finding the order status, order number is required. Right now here, this is where now we have to add instruction where we will tell our agent that you need to capture the add if and else. So what we are saying is if order number is equal to 0. So if we are saying that if the order number is equal to 0, then you just add an instruction. So this is what we're informing our agent, that order number is not yet given by the user. Okay, ask user for order number. Now with this, it should be able to get a order number from the user, but how do we ensure that the order number, whatever it is going to get from the user, is going to be set for this variable? So for that, we are going to add another action here. Okay, so we are going to say that, okay, we need to add action here to set the variable. Let me first save it. So we have added a if condition saying that order number is not equal to 0. I have to set a new action here, which is actually not coming from canvas right now. So let me switch to script, but that should be available here also. Like I should be able to move out of no, it's not working. So that's fine. What I'll do is I'll actually use the script mode. First of all, let's see that if everything is fine. Yeah, so let me switch to script. Actually, I'm not able to add action directly from here. It's going inside this action only. So that's where you need to use both. I hope that this will be fixed. So we have for this topic, we have this action. Again, if you see the entire script for this topic, you have this action, right? The order status. I want to add one more action, and it's going to use a standard action. So here we saw this one. Utils has this action called transition. What does it do? It transition to a topic. In this utils, we also have one more action called set variables. So these variables that you have defined here, you can set the value of that using that. So I'm going to say that set order number. So it's an action. So it's just the reference to this action that I'm going to use now. And how do I use it? So I'll say utils dot set variables. So this is the one, utils dot set variables. And now within this, so since you see with this enter, I'm actually within that. But if it were somewhere here, you're not supposed to write code here because this is YAML like structure. So if you are talking about this particular block, you should be inside that by pressing a tab. So what do we want to do? We are saying that in this case, we have to set the variable with, so we saw with last time also, I'll just talk about it. So I'm saying that set the variable with order number. So this is our variable, right? This one is our variable. So let me copy it. I'm saying that set the variables order number. You have to set it with what value? You can put a hard coded value here, or I'm going to say that triple dot. And if you remember from our last lecture, this triple dot means that LLM should set the value of this variable. Now, does it make sense? Again, we are saying that we are not sure whether it will set the value or not. And now here also I'm saying, we are saying that LLM should set the value for this order number. Now we'll make or we'll force our LLM to run to this action. So once it is here, it should be able to see this action. And I'm going to add a description also. Actually, description should be somewhere here. So we are saying that description just to help our agent or LLM that what is this action about? Set the order number as given by user. Okay. So let me just write this completely. So I'm saying that I just created a new action, and it is not a action of type Apex and all. So we don't have to create a definition for this. It's using the standard action, so we don't have to create those action. This set variables you don't have to define here. This this transition to you don't have to define here. This escalate, these kind of actions you don't have to define. These are available. You just need to remember them. How do you use it? Okay, from Canvas you don't even have to remember the syntax. You could directly use the resources to find this, but that's fine. So now we are saying that a set order number, a new action I just added for this topic, that with this you should be able to set the order number as given by the user. So this is where it is saying that whatever the order number user is giving, that is what I need to set here with. So with is used to set the value or put a input. Okay, so order number, I'm just saying that. Now where do I use this set order number? So now since it is created, so I can directly go here and add it here using the script syntax. But let's say that you are not aware of that syntax, so let's switch to the canvas because it's easy here. order status. So I'm saying that within this block, I'm saying that if the order number is 0, order number is not given by the user, ask user for order number, invoke. Now here is where you will use @ and okay, this is still not available. So first of all, let's just save it. Yeah, now it is saved. Invoke. Okay, it's still not coming. It should actually start visible. Okay, it's only showing this order status. Not sure why, but it should also show set order number, but that's fine. So again, as I said, there are some issues and still it's in beta, so maybe that's the issue. So let's do that in script. And that is where I don't want you to just learn how to write it from the canvas. You should also know the syntax for writing it from the script. So I'm now saying that order number is required. Sorry, here order number is not yet given by the user. Ask. Okay, why it's not saved? Ask user to give the order number, invoke. Now, how do you call this action from here? It's actually very simple, and I think we saw also previously. You just need to place this merge tag and !@ actions. So if you want to invoke the actions, you need to use this actions dot whatever the action you want to invoke. Okay, we are saying that you need to invoke this action and set the order number variable and set the order number variable. Okay, let's just save it. Let's see if it is fine. Yeah, so we have added a if block and everything is happening in this if block. This will only run when the order number is equal to 0, which means in the initial run, and in that case it will say that order number is not yet given. This is what we are telling to the LLM, that the order number is not yet given. Ask user to give the order number and invoke this action. In this action, what are we doing? Again, we are saying that set the order number as given by user. So user will give a order number, let's say 100. That order number now we will set into this variable called order number, and that is where our this action will now become visible, because available when order number is not 0, right? The moment some value is stored into this variable, this will become available. And now if I go to the canvas, now you will see that this will start showing up here. You see that this is showing up here. Not sure why it is not coming. I think these standard actions are somehow not coming with the @ resource tag, but that's fine. I think these are small glitch because we are still in beta. So now what happens is, if the order number is 0, then this part will run. Order number is not given by the user. Ask user to give the order number and invoke this action, set order number action, and set the order number variable. But what if this happens? When this happens, then we need a else condition, right? When the order number is set by the user. So in that case, just press on this plus icon here and add a else condition. So now for this if, we have a else condition here. So we can say that it's very simple one. We can say that order number is available. Okay, so when the order number is not there, then we want to do this, but when the order number is available, we just want to say that order number is available. And now if you go to the script definition of it, then you will see that we have a if and we have a else block. So if you want to write it, you don't want to switch between canvas and or, then you need to remember the syntax. It starts with if, and then you want to access the variable, then it is @ variables. If you want to access the action, then it's @ actions. Okay, to access the variable, @ variable, to access the actions, it's @ actions. And then you can add conditional statements, equal to 0, not equal to 0. You can add null check as well, none check as well. All of that you can do. We'll see this, all the conditional operators. So this is our if block, and now this is our else block. With this, you will see two different symbols coming up. First one is this one, and then this one is a pipe symbol. What does it mean? Now this symbol means that we are going to write an instruction of type template instruction. What is template instruction? If you want to have an instruction with static string plus some variables some actions, then you have to define your instruction this way. You're just instructing the compiler that this instruction will have some dynamic content added during the runtime. So right, the moment we do that, now I can add variables also here. Let's say that order number is not given, but let's say that I want to have some variable added here dynamically, then I can add that. So with this, I can that at the rate variables dot whatever the variable you want, you can merge that. So basically it means that this symbol means that the instruction is not just a static instruction, but rather it is going to be a combination of static string and dynamic thing. Those dynamic thing could be your variables and could be actions. So here, since we are going to use this action here, which is merging within the instruction, so we will have to define this way. And this pipe means that it's a multi-line string. So basically this instruction is a multi-line instruction. With this, what we are saying that whichever line reaches, that will become the final instruction. So it will start from here. It will see that there is a arrow symbol, which means that it's a template string that I'm going to get. So I should not right away assume that what is the instruction. Rather, I have to run those things or populate those values. If there is a variable declared here, I should populate that variable before I take next decision. So this is an instruction for our agent, right? The agent should not right away take the decision. Rather, it should perform this activity, run this action. And this action is a simple one, just setting the variable. But here you can actually run an action which can call a apex or make a flow call, whatever you want to do. All of that you can do. So your instruction could be combination of static string and a dynamic thing. So with this symbol, your agent is aware that following which I'm going to get a combination of string as well as dynamic thing. So this is what represent that. And then what pipe means is it will go inside that, and it is saying that wherever we have pipe symbol, all of these strings will be concatenated and a single instruction will be formed, whichever line is reached. In this case, when the variable was 0, then this line will run, right? So it will become, for finding the order status, order number is required. Pipe represents a multi-line string, that we are going to have a multi-line string. I can add more here, right? I can add more here, this way. I can keep on adding this way. I can add. So all of this is a multi-line string, right? Whenever you want to add a multi-line string, you need a pipe, but it does two things. First is this, as I said, it represents a multi-line string, and other is when you are having this template instruction, it says that the final instruction will be all the pipe followed statements which are reached. So this one is reached because we don't have any conditions here, right? It will definitely run. Correct? For finding the order status, order number is required. Then it will go here. It will say that, oh, order number is 0. So it will run, right? This one run, right? Order number is not yet given by the user. Ask user to give the order number, invoke this. So this becomes his final instruction. Will it going to run? No, it's not going. This else block is not going to run. So order number is available. This part is not going to run. So the final instruction becomes, for finding the order status, order number is not required. Then point 2, order number is not yet given by the user. Ask user to give the order number, invoke this action. So I hope you understood what are these two symbols. First one represents that we are going to have an instruction which is a combination of string and as well as combination of dynamic things, could be actions, could be variables. It is very common in programming language where you concatenate dynamic things with the string variable. So this is what it represents. And then pipe symbol has two meanings. First is it's a multi-line instruction. So I can have multiple line and I have to concatenate that because it's a if block. It should use all of this as an instruction. Okay, and then the second part is this pipe also means that the final instruction will be all the pipe lines which are reached. So this one will be reached, this one will be reached initially, this one will not be reached. So when the order number is given and if it comes back to this reasoning again, then this one will be reached. But since order number is not 0, so it will reach here directly. Order number is available. So that becomes the final instruction. Then I showed you how to write this if and else block from the canvas. So let's also write it directly from the script also. So I can say that if, now I'm saying that if at the rate variable, this one only, not equal to 0, basically I'm saying that if at the rate variable dot order name not equal to 0. What should we do when it is not equal to 0? When it's not equal to 0, pipe symbol, because I could have a okay, here double@ came, pipe symbol here, because I might be having a multi-line string, so it's better to use a pipe symbol. And also it says that final instruction will be concatenation of all the pipe symbol which were reached. So in this case, if you see, for finding the order status, this line will run, this will run, no, it won't. This will run, yes, because order number is not 0. I'm saying that when user would have given the order number and we would have run this action, in that case order number is not 0. So this part will not run, rather this will run, and even this will run because order number is not 0, correct? So here we can say that variable.order number not equal to 0. So we can say that to find the order status, invoke this action. So in the version 1, we directly had this statement, right? Without any conditional check, we were directly invoking the action. So which action I want to invoke? When you are in a string format, you need to use this merge tag to call the actions. So from the string, how do we invoke the actions? Using the merge tag. So this one, using this expression, 2 curly braces, and we can say that @actions dot which action we want to invoke. Okay, there is a missing exclamation mark. Actions dot order status. Okay, let me save it and let's actually go through it. Now we did a lot of things here in this version 2. First of all, we added a variable called order name number, and then we added a action here to this topic where we are using the standard out of the box action given by agent script to set the variables. So we are saying that set order number. This is just a reference to this action, that in this action what will happen is it will set the order number based on whatever the order number user is giving or whatever agent feels. Like here agent have to use its reasoning to define what should be the order number. And since we have given enough instruction saying that ask user to give the order number, and even the description of this action is set the order number as given by user, so it will definitely put the order number as given by user. Okay, so this is where it is going to happen. And when are we going to execute this action? For that we added a conditional statement here saying that if order number is 0, then we are telling our LLM that order number is not yet given by the user. Ask user to give the order number, invoke this action, set order number, and set the order number variable. Okay. Variable is actually order underscore number variable. And then I have a else block. Why else block is needed? Because once this, what should happen in case order number is available? Just I'm telling to my LLM that, I'm telling to my reasoning engine that order number is available. So, no need to worry about it. And then I'm saying that if the order number is not equal to 0, again, I could have actually used it here only because this else represent the same, but that's fine. I'm saying that in this case, what should happen is to find the order status, invoke this action, this one. Now there are two things. First of all, this action itself is not visible until the order number is not given by the user, right? Because of this filter that we have added. And secondly, even our instruction, we have put a condition that this will only run when the order number is available. So there is no way this agent is going to run this action until the order number is given by the user. So in this one, we actually covered a lot of things. We covered variables. What is variable? Variable is something that you will define, you will use it. These variables can hold value dynamically. It can get the value from Apex action or a flow action or anything. It can get values from your agent also. You can give the LLM slotting. That's exactly what we have done here, where we are saying that this variable will get the value from the LLM. You can have hard coded values as well. Right, all of that we saw here. What is variable and how to set the value. So to set the value, we can use this action, out of the box action, set variables, where you have to specify which variable you want to set. So using the with keyword. And again, if you see it in the canvas, it's actually easier in the canvas to understand. So we are saying that we have this set order with the input this. The moment we use this set variable, we see this option called with the input order number. Okay. And let's go back here again. So yeah, now it's a bit dynamic. So you see that all of these instructions are dynamic actually. And with this, what we have done is now this agent is a combination of hybrid reasoning. So we have the text instructions directly given this way, and we are also using the procedural language. So first of all, we are using the if conditions here to dynamically generate the instruction to instruct the agent what to be done, and then we are making these actions available based on how the value changes for the order number. So now we have added all the instruction to set the value of order number. But why we did all of that? We did all of that because we don't want this order number to be guesswork. We don't want, first of all, this action to be executed until the order number is not given. And that too, now since order number is stored into this variable, we don't want agent to guess the order number, but rather we want it to be coded. So we can say that @ variable dot order number. Okay. So now to this action, the order number that we had to pass, we are not using the LLM slotting, but we are using this order number variable because we are very much sure that there will be a value to this order number, because this instruction would have run, it would have set the order number, this variable would have been set, and now that variable value we are passing. So that guesswork of LLM slotting we removed from here. We still have LLM slotting here, but here we have instructed it that get the order number and then set the value. So in this example, we did a lot of things. We defined variable, we understood how variable works, we understood how these conditional statements are working. We can have procedural instructions now, and we added filters where this action will only be visible and the order number is there. And since order number is there, so see here we are giving the guarantee. The moment this action becomes available, when it will be available? When the order number is not 0. Since order number is not 0, so I know that I'm passing a correct order number. Correct. Now there is no guesswork here. Okay, so with this, let's just save it and let's go back to preview. So this time we are in the version 2, right? So version 2 is what we are testing. So let's just say that what is the status of my order. So here you will not see much difference. The output remains same. The only thing that we are trying to handle is these kind of scenarios, because in this case, what would have happened if the agent would have executed the action without collecting the order number, right? So if your action is written in Apex and it requires the order number because you're writing a SOQL query, so you could get exception that your SOQL query, the binding variable is null, something like that. So you are trying to save from those kind of issues, runtime issues. Now here, what is the status of my order? So if everything goes well, to check the status of your order, please provide your order number. So at this time, what would have happened is, actually, let's just see that. Let's just see, trace is fine, variables. If you go to the variable, the current value of this order number is 0. And you know that we have added the condition that if it is 0, then it should ask the user for the order number and set the value to this order number variable. So this is what exactly it has done right now. So let me give the value as 100. So now when I gave this input as 100, what would have happened is it would have called the action, the set order number action, and it would have set the value. So now the order number should not be 0. How do you check that? So let's just open this trace again. This time you see that order number is now changed to 100. So it was able to set the value for this order number. And the moment this happened, the moment order number value changed from 0 to 100, what would have happened is all of this became available. First of all, this action became available, and this action became available, and now it can invoke this action and it can pass the value of order number, which is 100. So I hope you understood that we are trying to reduce the guesswork here. We are trying to make it little bit deterministic, because now we are very much sure that this action will only be available when the order number is not 0, or when the order number here, order number 0 represent that the order number is not yet given, because that's what we have initialized it, right? When it is 0 means this is what we initialized it and we haven't got the order number. Okay, and that's what it is. And the moment we get the order number, this action becomes available. These instructions will now run. This instruction will not run. This will run, saying that order number is available. Even this will run and it will invoke the action, pass the order number, the correct order number, no guesswork like that LLM slotting is not there. It will pass the value from this variable. Similarly, you can have variable which will store the order status. So here, so let's just see that. I mean, not needed because we have already instructed our agent to use the output. But since you want to, you still want to store that, because maybe to the next action you want to do that. A chained action is where you want to use it. So we can say that I'm going to call it soft. Maybe I'll call it drink order status. Okay. And it will be of type string. Okay, so there is one thing I think I missed. The types are mutable and linked. Mutable means you want agent to modify the value of that. Linked means agent should not modify the value of that. And these are basically context variable, which means that the value coming from your messaging session. So those variables you will declare as linked, which means that when we learn about the context variable, we can create our own variable in the messaging session. So those values should come from the context, and agent should not be able to set the value for that, which means it is not mutable in the agent invocation. The two types we have is mutable and linked. So here maybe drink order status variable, right? It's a mutable so that it can be updated in the agent. Drink order status. Now we have this. How do we want to set it? We want to set it when the action comes back with the response. So let's go here. And here you see that this is where we are invoking the order status action. So we are passing the order number as a variable, and action is returning some response, the order status. Now we can set that or store that into this new variable that we just created, drink order status. Okay, and let's just save it. Okay, everything looks fine. So let's just see this in the script. Now we are saying that here in the order management, we are having this order status action where we are passing the order number, right? Order number is the variable order number which got defined in this action, and then whatever the response comes back from that action, that is what we are storing it in this drink order status. Now what do you want to do with that? Maybe you want to have a chained action. Once you got the order status, you want to invoke a third-party system. Let's say that you should invoke the third-party system when the order status is dispatch. Then you will have a chained action here. How do you create a chained action? Let me show you here in the canvas. It's easy to see in the canvas. You can have this action, and then you can do add run follow-up action. So once this action is executed, you can run a follow-up action. Let's call it notify downstream system action. That action you can run once this action runs. So this is how you will chain the action. Order status action came. Order status action ran and it came back with the order status. Now you want to run the subsequent action, and that too you want to make sure that the subsequent action is only run if the drink order status is dispatch. So we got the order status from flow. If the status is dispatch, then only the subsequent action should be executed. So you will create a new action. You will create a flow or apex type of action. You will define that action in the actions, and then you will call that action here, and you will put the filter that when the drink order status is dispatch, and maybe you can pass the value from this drink order status variable. So that's how you will use variables to control all of that. You can store the value into that. You can use them as a filters, and you can use them to use as a filter as well. So now with this one, we are not using this drink order status variable, but let's just see that what happens here. Okay, now you will see that we have this order number, initial value is 0, drink order status, initial value is default value is empty. So we can say that what is the status of my order, right? It is asking for the order status because still the order number is 0, right? Value after is still 0. So let's give it 100. Now order number will be updated. It will call the action. It will get the status. That status will be stored into one of the variable, and then we should see that our drink order status should have the value of open. So open is the status that we got, right? Now here you see that in the variables, our drink order status now have a value open. So then now we can use this variable to call a new action or put it as a filter for the next action, and can pass this value in the subsequent call. So in this version 2, I hope you are able to understand that how we are using this hybrid approach in which we are able to use the procedural language, programming language, concepts of programming language, if block, else block, filtering and all that. Variable, most importantly, we are using the variables and we are using this conditional blocks. So using all of that, we are able to control our agent much better. We can control when a particular action is visible. We can control what value goes to that action. We can control subsequent action as well. So from this order status, once this run, I can call another action. Okay. So in last lecture, we completed the version 2 of our SoftRink agent and we learned a lot of concepts. Now let's discuss this sheet which I was showing you earlier. So how do we refer a action? It is used by @actions and the name. Now there are two ways you can refer action. So here, one is when you are within a string, which means that when you are inside the instructions and you have to refer the action, then the syntax remains same, actions dot the name of that action, but it will be within this expression because we are inside a string, right? All of these are string. It has to concatenate, and that is why we are using this symbol to concatenate this and this, right? So we will use this syntax. When we are not inside a string or inside an instruction, then we can invoke it simply by @actions dot the action name. So here the action name is order status. Similarly, if you have to transition to a topic or you want to run some topic, you can refer them @topic dot topic name. So here in the start agent, we are transitioning to escalation topic as well as order management topic. How do we refer that? Using the @topic keyword. Then similarly, how to refer variable name? So it's @variables. So with the S, we have to make sure that we are always using that @variables. We can refer our variables. Okay, so here we were referring the order number variable. So only when we are concatenating it with the string, this is actually a logical expression. That is why we are not using it. But if I have to use this variable somewhere here, then I will merge it in the same way. So only while merging, we will use this expression. Similarly, how do we use the output variable? It's @output.name. So here if you see, the output variable coming from the flow was order status. And here we can see that we have this order status variable, right? Order status. How do we refer that? It's @outputs.order status. Then after that, if we see here, this is the symbol we discussed that this is a symbol is used for template instruction, which means that when we are saying that we will have a combination of static string as well as dynamic things coming up, then we will use this symbol to tell this to the agent. Pipe symbol is used to allow multi-line text and marks the point where instruction turn into natural language. So basically pipe symbol says that it's a multi-line text that is coming up, and when it's running in the logical instruction, then it checks what are the lines which are getting executed. That becomes the final prompt or final instruction. Then this we have not seen as of now, that you can use run to trigger an action. As of now, we have seen that how to invoke the action is like this. Here we are invoking this action, and here we are just giving a reference to this action. We are not executing the action. We are just telling that there is this action which you should invoke, but there can be some situation where you want to run the action from the instruction. I mean, it's not just telling it that there is an action available, but we want it to run right away. In that case, we will use this run keyword to do that. When exactly do you want to do that? Maybe there is something called as reasoning life cycle. So this is one more change here. We will have a lecture covering this part, but still I'm covering it right now. In legacy AgentForce, there was only one reasoning, and this is the life cycle of that. You have instructions and you have instructions which runs and then it calls the action. But now in this agent script, even the reasoning is having a life cycle, which means that this is the final instruction that it is running. But if I want to run something before this, then I have before reasoning. And once it has completed the reasoning and it has invoked the action, I want to do something, then I can do that in the after reasoning. So we have before reasoning, we have the reasoning, and the after reasoning. So this is the life cycle of a reasoning, something that you want to run before the actual reasoning starts, which means that these instruction running starts. You can do that by using before reasoning. We'll have a lecture to cover that. And if you want to run something after the reasoning is completed, then that you will do in the after reasoning. And actually in the preview, we could see that in the traces, you will see that here it is. So you see before reasoning is running, and before reasoning is running here. So this is the life cycle of before reasoning and after reasoning. So this is also available. Now why I explained that is because in your before reasoning, you may want to run an action. You're not just telling it there exists action, but you want to run an action which will give you some variables value. For example, if you have account ID, you want to get some information about that, who's the business partner and all that information, then maybe in the before reasoning, you will invoke action which will give you all the information about that current account. And you can tell your agent that the business partner is this. So you want to set some values before the actual reasoning starts. Then you will have a before reasoning. In that before reasoning, you will invoke a action. Now, how do you invoke a action from instruction? For that, we will use a run. So maybe we'll have an example where we will see this. How do you pass values to action using with keyword? So here, when we were invoking this action, we are invoking this action here. So to invoke this action, okay, let's just see here. To invoke this action, we need to pass some input values, right? So for that, we will use the with keyword. And if we want to set some value, set the value of this variable from the output variable, then we will use the set variable. Okay. While set stores return value. So whatever is returning from the action, if I want to store that, I will use the set keyword. This is used to add comment. Like you can add comments here, which is actually a best practice. Actions of this topic. This is not going to be read by agent. It's only for the developers, so that you can tell what is this topic. It's right now, since we are creating, we know that this is order management topic, but for other developers to understand what it is, you can add your comments here. Okay, and then we have these arithmetic operators. So we have seen some of the operators here, right? Equal to. So this is to tell that when we are running some logical instructions, we can check that variable order number is equal to 0. If it is equal to empty, all of that you can do. So these are the different operators you have. You can do concat, you can do addition, multiplication as well. You can do conditional check using equal to, not equal to, less than, greater than, or null validation also you can have. Like if you have object, then you can say that if the object is null, then you will use these keywords. Okay, so I think we covered a lot of things with this agent. It's a very simple agent. We can build really complex agent with using all of these concepts. But the goal of this example was touch all of these points: variables, logical instructions, filters, all of that I wanted to cover before we could create little complex agents. Now in the next lecture, let's actually try to deploy this agent so that we can see end-to-end working. As of now, we have only tested it from the preview mode. If you want to make changes, you can keep on testing it from the preview mode, but since we are confident right now, so we can commit this version. And now if we have to make this agent available, since it's a service agent, we can deploy this onto the community sites, right? We have already seen how to deploy it from the legacy AgentForce builder agent. Now, if I have to deploy this agent to the community site, I'll have to first activate it. So there are two versions here. Whichever version you will activate it, that version will be deployed. So although both are committed right now, but version 2 is active. So this is the agent that will be deployed into the community side. So let's do all the steps that we have already done, but I'll do little faster, assuming that you have already seen the previous deployment lecture, to quickly deploy this agent. In this lecture, let's see how we can deploy the agent that we have built using agent script. So these were the steps that we followed when we were deploying the agent which we built in the legacy agent builder, and the steps remain actually same. So let's just do that. So the first is we need to have our agent where we should have our topics, instruction, action, and we should activate it. So if we see our agent, it is currently activated. So version 2 is activated. So we are good to go from step 1 point of view. So let's move to the next steps. And for that we need omnichannel. So let's go to omnichannel. I think omnichannel is already enabled in this org. enhanced routing we can turn on. And if you want to understand why we are doing all of that, that was actually covered in the last lecture where we deployed the service agent. I mean, when we were deploying the service agent from the legacy AgentForce builder. Then we need the routing configuration. So why do we need routing configuration? Because we need a queue. Why do we need a queue? Because we are going to create a Omni flow. There we need this queue. So I'm just going to create a routing configuration. Let's give it priority 1, most available. And then let's create a queue also. And the routing configuration is agent routing. Okay, and it will be available for the messaging session. Yeah. Now the next step is we need to create the omni-channel flow, but before that we need to enable the digital experience because we are going to deploy this to the site, right? So let's just enable digital experience and let's click on save. And let's actually create a site as well because this will take little time to get activated. And meanwhile, I'll go to the flow. We need to create an omni-channel flow as well. So you can use any template here. Okay, so this site will spin up in a few times. So let's create a new flow. And this you can actually see from here. If you see in the connections, we don't see anything. So I'm not able to add connections because I think we committed the version. To the committed version, we can't make changes. So here in the connections, you have to be in the canvas to see all that. In the connection, let's click on add a new connection. So right now we can only deploy this in the messaging. So let me just select that and add to the agent. Now here, if you go, you will see that what are the responses this agent support, and escalation also we can add to transfer the call to the human. We have already seen how to do that. It's very straightforward. You just need a escalation flow and inbound routing. So we need to have a inbound omni-channel flow, which will route the work to this particular agent. So that is why we are creating this flow. Here, let's just search for omni-channel flow. Okay. This is fine. And here, yeah, this is also ready. So let's just activate this site as well. Okay. And here to this omni-channel flow, what do we want to do? Whenever a new messaging session request comes, we want to route that work to our agent, right? So let's create a new resource which will hold the record ID. Again, I'm going a little faster. We had done this step by step, explaining all the steps in detail. So if you feel like I'm doing a little fast, please watch the last lecture of deployment. So this is the record ID that I need, and simply I can just route the work to the agent. Route work to agent. And we want to route this record ID work to the service channel messaging. And the routing type is, we need to choose the AgentForce service agent here. And okay, I have to activate the agent. Yeah, this is the version 3. So commit this version. Okay, so the problem is not actually in the inbound routing flow, it's actually in the escalation flow. Basically, we have this escalation topic, so it also requires escalation flow, which we are not covering right now. So what I will do is, in this version, let's go here in the script. I'm going to remove this topic, the topic escalation. And since this is removed, so we also have to remove it from here. So now we don't need the escalation flow. What's the error? Okay, maybe you have to remove this also. Yeah, now it is saved. So now let's create a connection here, and messaging type is messaging, add to agent. Okay, now if you see this in the canvas, so it seems like this escalation flow is mandatory. Not sure why it is, because I had actually created it similarly here, and here escalation flow was not mandatory, and I was able to add the inbound flow. Let's see in the script. Okay, only adaptive response allowed, true. This is the only thing here. So let's just do the similar thing. Let's remove all of this. Okay, this is interesting. So when we added the messaging, it added all of that, and that's fine. Now let's just see that. So we have this messaging added, and let's just save it. Now if we see it from the canvas, okay, this is fine. In the script mode, we only have, okay, we need to have only one parameter here. Again, it seems like some issue. Escalation flow should not be like mandatory there. Now we have this version 4, so let's commit it. And now we can activate this version. Okay, now if we go here, and so we have this record ID. Now we should be able to route the work. We want to route the work on this record ID, from this record ID to the messaging, and it should be agent for service agent. And yeah, the agent is coming up. So you have to have your agent active, and that agent should also have a messaging added. So when we added from the canvas, it actually added some additional parameter which became mandatory. So when we remove that, then it allowed us to save this. So again, as I said, it's still in beta, so we are seeing all of this issue, but we will have to fix that one by one, and most probably Salesforce will be able to fix all of these issues. Okay, so that's fine. Now if we go here, so we have this software agent added here, and we need the fallback queue which we created. Because of this fallback queue, we had to create that routing configuration and omni-channel stuff, right? So let's just save it. Let's call it route work to agent. Okay, activate it. And the moment we create a flow, inbound omni-channel flow, which is routing a work to the agent, then here now when we switch to canvas, we should start seeing that, right? So now route work to agent is showing up here, and even though this escalation flow is showing mandatory, there is not a problem when we remove those variables. And when we see this in the script view, yeah, it's only showing this part, it's not showing additional parameter. So yeah, maybe if you also face the similar issue, just remove this other parameters from this connection messaging in the script mode, because in the canvas mode you don't have that option. And then you can activate your agent. Only if your agent is active, that will show up while creating this a flow, and then you can add that. Okay, so we are done with this part. We have our flow, and I think here we had also activated this side. And now the next step is, let's go to the messaging setting here. So turn on messaging. Okay, and create a new channel of enhanced chat. Channel name is messaging or agent. It is of type web, and domain should be my.site.com. Make sure you are giving the same, and click on next. Routing type will be OmniFlow. So you might see this option, agent for service agent, but when I'm using this for this for this agent script agent, it's actually not working. I mean, when I deploy this embedded service deployment to the site, my agent was not coming. But when I chosen the OmniFlow, and that is why in this lecture I'm discussing everything about OmniFlow, it worked. Maybe it will work very soon. Then we don't have to create these OmniFlows. But for now, OmniFlow is the right way. So the flow name was route work to agent, and the fallback queue we need. So that should be messaging queue. Save it, accept it, and click save. Maybe to avoid the issue that I was facing, when you have to enable messaging, keep yourself in the script while enabling messaging, because in that case it will only add this much parameter. But if you enable it from the canvas mode, it is adding those additional parameter. So in my other org, I had actually enabled messaging from script mode. Okay, so yeah, this message channel is created and it is routing work to this particular agent. This is our fallback queue, so everything is fine. Let's just see if this message channel is active or not. Yeah, this is active also. So it would have also created a embedded service deployment. So if we go to embedded service deployment, yeah, messaging for agent is created. It's using the same messaging channel. The only thing that we need to do is publish this. Meanwhile, it is getting published. Our next step is to add the course setting. So again, all of this we had discussed why this course is needed. Okay, it's already there, but it should be star.my.site.com. So it should be all the sites, right? So just add this, and yeah, I think our embedded service deployment is also ready. It was published. Yeah, it's coming up here. So now let's go to this site and let's go to the builder. And here, let's add the component. And yeah, it has taken the embedded web deployment. This is our web deployment. Always visible. With this, let's publish it. So now we have our flow, which is routing the work to this agent, which is active. We have an agent, which is active. And we also have messaging setting configured, embedded web deployment configured. So with that, it should take some time, but let's just see that. Yeah, our agent is coming up here. I mean, the chat at least is coming. Let's see that if everything goes well, this will route the work through the omni-channel flow to our agent, which is the SoftRing agent. Yeah, so SoftRing agent joined and it should now greet us with the message. So this message is coming from here. This is the message that it is giving. So if you want to make changes, you can create a new version, change those message, and then it will start greeting with that message. Okay, so we can say that what is the status of my order 100. Perfect. The status of your order 100 is open. So now the agent that we built using the agent script, we are able to deploy that to the community side. So we are able to test it end to end. So now we have two options to create our agent. Your legacy AgentForce builder is still there. You can create your agent that way, or you can use this agent script to create your agent. Deployment remains almost very same. All the steps that we performed while deploying the legacy AgentForce agent is same as for this agent.